Now, under new government plans set out today, pupils will be able to take a new V-level qualification to gain vocational skills after finishing their GCSEs, alongside traditional qualifications such as A-levels. Now, this might be in engineering, agriculture or digital skills, for example. The hope is it will help simplify the education system and get 16 to 19-year-olds into good jobs. Does this sound like a good idea to you, Brenda?
Well, it sounds like what I did, the B Tech.
Just renamed as a V,
yeah,
V something.
Exactly. So
yes.
In 1985, I did the B Tech, National in Business and Finance. And then the reason I chose that was because it had a work experience option. So that was something that I really wanted to get experience in the actual workplace. For 6 weeks, it was unpaid, but that's why I chose the BTEC in Business and Finance. And it was great. It taught me things about business and how you do sales ledger, purchase ledger. As you know, I'm a dab hand at statement reconciliation.
Yes.
And then, but I went into my first job after doing that. I went into my first job 1987, I was an office junior for £4,000 a year. And I was very grateful for that.
You see all life as the office junior, don't you?
Absolutely. But move forward to my children's generation age, they're obviously 31 and 31. And when Jamal was at college, he did a digital business course, and it also had a vocational side to it, which is why he chose it. But then he did all of that and he couldn't get a job afterwards. He went out with his CV, couldn't get a job for love nor money, came back very despondent. And so I frog marched him down to I'll only say the name once, Top Man in West Ealing. And I spoke to the manager and I says, look, my son has been coming in, he's given out so many CVs, he's not got a job, he hasn't got experience, but you can't get the job without experience. Please let him work for free for a week. It was totally against my son's wishes, but that was was the deal. They said yes, and then Jamal started working there. His communication skills improved because he was speaking to people as they're coming in, and he actually ended up designing a hat bucket line for Top Man 5 years later. So
amazing. Good result. I mean, Jana, you know, vocational skills can't be underestimated, really, can they?
No, I think they're really important, and I've had a hard time over the years in persuading my friends' kids that this is what, you know, is really, really valuable and as valuable as GCSEs and A-levels. And it's because, under Tony Blair, we oversold university. We made university the holy grail, that if you're brainy, if you've got any value, if you want a good job, go to university.
Want to be saddled with debt.
Yeah, and be saddled with debt. And now we find it's all the chickens have come home to roost, that many, many graduates have the debt and can't get the jobs that they thought they would. Now, what I would say about these new qualifications is they also need to teach the art of conversation and communication along with everything else, because, unfortunately, you can teach the skills, you can teach the practical aspects of it, but people are unemployable unless they can hold a conversation and communicate with the people around them. I just think that's the key to it all.
Because they're on their phones all the time, aren't they, basically?
Well, they
very
don't
little
form
communication.
complete sentences. That's...
I mean, there's an argument for teaching them that in school, actually, before they even emerge.
Oh, definitely. I'm advocating teaching communication and conversation in school. Back in our ancient days, it was called debating or whatever. But someone would stand at the front of the class and say something preposterous and you'd have to discuss it.
Exactly.
But
you get to listen to another point of view that's not the same as yours.
Yeah, but what Brenda has said about taking her son into a shop and getting him a job, I did that in another way for my newsagent's son who'd been to university, couldn't get a job, had sent his CV out 50 times, and then luckily I was at a breakfast with the head of a big car company and they were looking for graduates, and I went, Well, my newsagent's son has to work in the shop and deal with all these pensioners who are completely irritating, can't remember what paper they've done. He's got plenty of communication skills, I can assure you. And he gave him a chance.
Fantastic.
That kid went on and got trained, and now he's got a fantastic
What was your first job, Gloria?
My first job was, well, I started to sing as a job when I was 6.5. So therefore I got 7 and 6 a night. A lot of money then, back in the day.
Yeah.
But my first job in the summer was in a chicken factory. And what I could tell you about Rhode Island Reds and all the various chickens and everything, the smell in that place was not very nice.
But they were in bits when you were dealing with them.
Well, exactly. But here's the thing. We were brought up to work. There was no question that we weren't going to work.
No.
And in a way, what was wrong with, in those days, of learning on the job, whatever your job? And actually, when I think back on my broadcasting side, I was given a job from one day to the next. I was a singer then. Whatever level, I was a singer. And the next day, I was given a job as a broadcaster, so I learned on the job. What's wrong with that, really, when you think about it?
Yeah.
And a lot of times, people used to go to the technical in the evening to expand their knowledge. So
Great
it could be a
stuff.
good idea.
Good old work ethic.